Welcome to my channel, SteveO the Window Cleaner. Today we are going to talk about residential bidding. We already talked about storefront. We had the storefront bid guide, so this will be the residential window cleaning bid guide. And basically what this video will cover is just the basics of how to bid windows for residential jobs. So let's just get right into it. And we're going to go over first, as I said, the basics, and then I'm going to, like I did with the storefront bid guide, is bring up some images, and we'll talk about what I would charge for a few images just to kind of give you a good idea. But I have some notes, so I'm gonna be looking at these, talking to you, but let's get to it. So what are you charging for when you are cleaning residential windows, right? So you're charging for the glass, the screens, and the tracks, okay? One thing that I see a lot of companies do is they just put in one price for the glass and they include the screens and the tracks. And usually they win a lot of jobs because their prices are extremely low. If you always work like that and you're trying to build a company, it's probably not the best thing. So what I encourage you to do right off the bat is create a price for screens, tracks, and glass, okay? That's how I like to do my bids. I think it's a good way to implement, to basically keep things very organized and to keep your prices where they need to be to run a window cleaning business the right way. So what you also want to include in your bidding is what is included in the clean. So when I say that, when I used to work at Fish or other companies used to work out for window cleaning, sometimes it was just said, all that needs to be done is scrub the window, scrub it with like a white pad, squeegee it off, detail the edges, boom, done. That's it. That's all you got to do. You don't got to remove paint. You don't got to remove silicone. And this would be like on a normal clean, right? So, but what you want to be able to do in your bids is say, okay, what am I cleaning and what am I not cleaning? Always be very specific in what you're doing. So one of those things to list is, am I taking off paint? Am I taking off silicone? And what you could just call that is debris. And I would say paint, silicone, and other debris is something I don't remove, or you do remove it. Maybe you do remove paint, silicone, and debris on every single window. If you're doing that, I suggest your prices be a little bit higher than most because of the time that it's going to take to remove that from the glass. Now in doing that, you deal with some things as maybe scratch waivers, different stuff like that if you're going to be using a razor a lot. So it is easier though to train employees on a very simple way of cleaning where you pretty much say, hey, if there's a little thing here or there you want to remove, great, but overall what we need to do is this process. We need to scrub the window, scrub with a white pad or a bronze wool pad, squeegee it off, detail, be done. That's the service. A lot of new guys you can get very engrossed and involved in trying to remove every single thing from the glass, and you get done with the project and say, wow, I made $10 per an hour. That's because you're trying to do too much. So get a good middle ground when you're deciding what you are actually going to be cleaning off the glass. How much are you charging? Okay, so I'm going to give you kind of a range. For windows, really are anywhere from like $5 to $10, okay, depending on the size. We'll kind of go over that more when I show you different images, but you know, it depends on the size and the type of window. If I'm looking at family room windows and they're large windows, maybe I charge up to $10 for those windows. But I suggest that you make a minimum that you want to charge for windows. I don't always suggest doing it as like every single window is $5. I do suggest that if you see larger windows, just like I talked about, maybe you double that price for those windows overall. But that's just for the glass. For screens, really depends, okay? You could be anywhere from $2 up to $5. I've seen it all as far as how people charge. Now, in my area, I couldn't charge $5 per screen. It just wouldn't work out. I just know the customers in my area. I've done enough bids in my life. It would not work out. So what I do encourage though is being somewhere between $2 and $4. $4 and $5 I think is the high end. But if they're large screens, sometimes on double hung windows, you can have very large screens. Maybe those are like a $4, $5 screen. And if they're really dirty, then add that to your bid. But as a common service, regular service, it's about $2 per screen to clean those screens. Usually not that dirty. I use the screen washer and it gets it done super fast, or a pressure washer as well can be a really good avenue of getting those screens cleaned. Next, we want to charge for track cleaning. Now, in saying that, I always do offer for my services a very quick complimentary wipe that is just to like clear stuff out. I mean, it is literally this fast of cleaning that stuff out and being done. But if you want to offer deep clean, like a vacuum or stuff like that, what I encourage you to do is at least charge about $2 per that track that you're going to clean. Now, in saying all this, you might say to yourself, wow, that sounds expensive. Trust me, you are not going to get all residential bids. People are going to call you expensive. People are going to gawk at your prices. Some people are not even going to have a reaction and still hire you. Then there's some people are going to feel like, wow, you're right on the money. You're going to get every type of customer possible when we talk about prices, okay? Next thing we're going to go over, create a minimum price. This is very, very big in all avenues of cleaning windows, no matter what you're doing, but my storefront minimum is a lot smaller than my residential minimum. A residential minimum, usually sometimes people will call you and say, hey, I have 3 big windows. Can you come out and clean my 3 big windows? Yeah, I'll clean your 3 big windows, but it's at least gonna be $100. At least have your minimum at $100, okay? Anywhere from $100 to $150 is really smart because you don't wanna be wasting your time to go out and do a single window at a house for $5. The time that it's going to take you to get there, the time it's going to take to put up the ladder or do whatever you need to do to clean that window is not going to be worth your time. So create a minimum that's at least over $100 for all residential window cleaning. You will thank me later. Okay, so let's talk about bid sheets or an organized email, or maybe you do your bids through a CRM. Okay, I would encourage a CRM to go more the technology route of having everything organized in that way. That's the way everything's going. But let's say you write out a paper bid or whatever. Certain things that you want to outline on that bid. 1, are you doing inside and outside? 2, are you doing outside only? 3, are you cleaning screens? Yes or no? 4, are you cleaning tracks? 5, are you cleaning the garage windows? Are you cleaning the basement windows? Are you cleaning the little odd windows that maybe that customers always don't ask about? Always understand that maybe sometimes customers do not want every single window cleaned. So it's good to ask about the basement and the garage. If they have an extra shed, ask about the shed. Maybe they have an office that's off the house, ask about that. There's always these little additions you can clean. Also, are you cleaning partition windows like French doors that maybe go into an office or a room? Just something like that. Just make sure to be very, very clear in what you're cleaning, because if you just put on a bid, I'm cleaning I'm cleaning all windows inside and outside. You've just signed yourself up for every single skylight, every single window, every single garage window, every single basement window, maybe even the microwave you have to clean now. But overall, be very, very detailed on everything that you say that you're going to clean, as far as just making sure that they know so that there's no miscommunications. So next, first story versus second story. I would always say charge more for the second story windows, okay? Whether or not you're doing all your ground floor at $5 and all your second floor at $7, I would put a difference in that, okay, overall. And then I would also charge extra for windows that are super, super hard to get to. If you'll take a while to get that experience, but once you get that experience and you start looking at things, you'll say, wow, I know that that window is gonna take a lot longer than that window, even though they're the same exact window. Charge more for it, add on it. It's your time. Time is money. There's no reason for you not to add on to that. So, hard to reach windows can be like, a lot of houses have a walkout basement. Boom, that adds another 10 to 15 feet to how high that window is. So even using a water-fed pole, a lot of people ask, well, do I charge less because it's a little bit easier? No, you charge the same exact thing. You're cleaning the exact same windows. It's just overall, you're going to be able to clean them quicker with a water-fed pole, and you're not going to go up and down the ladder, right? So let's look at some different residential windows, and I'm going to give you what I think I would bid on these different types of windows, and let's just go through them. Okay, so first window we're going to look at is these 9-section horrible windows, is what I call them. So on this, I would charge about $9 to $10 to do inside and outside of that window. Outside, I'd always use water-fed pole. If you got to do traditional techniques, I just suggest doing the same thing I would do on the inside. For the 4 little corners, you could cut a small little channel, but if you don't want to do that, you can simply just buff them out. Use your washer, get some solution, buff them out with 2 towels. Boom, you're good on that. Never do that on the whole window. It won't look good. So then squeegee the rest, and overall, you get through that pretty quick. But any house with these, I always use water-fed pole on the outside of any French windows, and it will make it overall pretty easy for you. Okay, let's look at the next one here. We're going to look at casement windows. So this is just a very normal casement window, or crank out window, you could call them. And these windows, you usually have a screen on the inside. crank it out. You'll have some brass fittings on the bottom there. You can brush them out, make them look really, really good. But for the glass alone, I'm around like $6 to $7 for these kind of windows. These kind of windows can vary in sizes. You could have a small bedroom or bathroom one, and you could have a larger one in great rooms or whatever. But overall, I'm like somewhere around 6 to 7 for the glass. Usually the screen inside around 2, and for the track around 2, and you're pretty well covered there as far as cleaning those for a good price, and you making money and getting the customer happy. Let's see here. Double hung windows with the screen. So double hung windows, I'm always at $12 for a double hung. That's just what I do. Maybe second story, I'll go up to like $14 for the glass. Charge about $2 per screen, and then also charge that $2 per track if they want to deep clean up the tracks. It's just really simple as that. Water fed pole works great on these as well. Some double hungs and also single hungs you can clean from the inside out. Double hungs, both windows can fold in. Just be careful with that as far as the sides go, as far as not letting that window come out. And then on a single hung, you can usually take out the bottom pane and then reach out and do the top of the outside of the top pane and be able to clean it very well that way. So that's something else I suggest for double hungs. But most houses, right, you see double hungs or you see sliders. I mean, that's the most that we usually see, but that gives you a good idea on the double hungs. Fancy half moon windows. So sometimes we see windows like this and it's like, oh, I don't really want to clean this type of window. But this would be another one where you're probably going to have to buff out a little bit with the towel, but overall you want to try to squeegee as much as possible. But let's talk about what I would charge for a window like this. Window like this, especially if it's high up, I'm thinking like anywhere from probably about $15 to $20 inside and out. Why? Because of the time that it's going to take to clean that window, inside or out. If you're doing traditional techniques on the outside, it's going to take you a while just to get everything, towel every edge. That's a lot of edges to towel. Now, if this was just a normal half moon window, had nothing that French window is just one big pane, I'd probably be at like $6 to $7 inside and out to kind of give you a range. But definitely if you see windows like this with a bunch of little details in it, you know, I would say to definitely charge more for that, because that's going to take a lot of time. That's very tedious window. So next what we'll look at is French double hung. So we're talking about 9 panes over 9 panes here. French windows like this, what I do now is I just do about anywhere from $1 to $2 depending on how dirty the glass is for each individual pane. I don't get a lot of French window jobs because I am so pricey with them, because I don't like doing them. So I always water fed pull the outside, trad the inside. But overall with something like this, a real easy way to do it. Overall, straight pulls are almost better for these kind of windows. If you can just make a channel the same size as that, that's what I suggest doing. Even if you have to pay for an 18-inch channel or 14-inch channel, if you cut it down, they're like around $10. That's going to save you a lot of time on that job and make it a lot easier. So overall though, for like ones like this, I would almost be at, let's say I do $1.50 a pane, I'm going to be at, just alone for the top inside and out, almost $13 for that top. So inside and out of those both be $26. That may be a little high in the end. I may look at that and say, I probably do each for about, or I'd probably do that for like $20 for the set. That might be a little high to say that you'd do that inside and out for like $26. Probably not going to get many jobs like that overall. But that's what I would do with French windows, is just select a price for each individual square. Sometimes that won't always work if a home has tons and tons of them. As far as panes, I've seen panes with 30 to 40 little individual squares in them. Maybe you cut back a little bit on the price of that, but it depends on what you're using. I really suggest that if you're doing a lot of these type of homes, get a water fed pole. It'll make the outside super quick. I'm gonna pull up a home here. Maybe you guys have seen this before. I call this the Jetson home. This is actually a home in Colorado. So for like, these are very like commercial style windows on a residential home. Obviously gonna be somewhat hard to get to. For these type of panes, these are pretty large. These are almost like 2 panes. So I do the same thing that I do when I bid storefronts. If it looks like 2 panes, then I charge it for 2 panes. So I pretty much probably price each one of those panes at like $10 per pane and go all the way around to clean that. It's just a lot of glass, and it's going to be tedious overall. Now let's look at some just like modern large casement windows. This is becoming a lot more of a look that a lot of older homes, at least in our area, are getting torn down, and a lot of these newer homes are being built. So let's just look at this area that has about the 15 windows right here. 15 windows times $5. What are we looking at there? You're almost looking at $75 for inside out of that. I would go a little bit higher, where usually I'd probably charge the middle ones at about $6 to $7, and then I would do $5 for the other panes. So you're probably looking at closer to like $80 to $90 inside and out of that one set, just to kind of give you an idea of the time it takes. If you're doing that by trad on the outside, I mean, there's guys going to comment and say, oh, I could do it, with a pole in this amount of time. But if they're dirty and they're a true residential house clean, then you're looking at spending, a few minutes on each one of those panes. So overall, this one area may take you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to clean inside and out. So if you're trying to work at like a $70 to $100 an hour rate, perfect pricing right there. And that's usually what I see with homes, is about $70 to $100 an hourly rate as far as what's really pretty common in doing it. I'll show you these ones for the last, once again, casement windows with 2 hung over top. For that, when windows are grouped together, you could think, okay, well, I'm going to be at that window. Maybe I'll charge a little bit less, as in like $5 for the top, $6 for the bottom. Second floor, maybe you charge a little bit more for the whole set altogether. That's some things you can think about. For like that set in and out, I'd probably charge about $25. And that's just for the actual glass on it as well. Sorry, I keep yawning. I don't mean to. So anyways, that pretty much gives you an idea of kind of like what I would charge for some particular glass. But I want to end with a few points here. Construction cleans, okay? Construction cleans, you're going to take your price and you're going to times it by 2 or times it by 3. A lot of people ask, how do I get construction cleans? I don't really know if you want construction cleans. A lot of people do them. It's a great way to learn because you're going to do them in your time. But to try to get them, do you need to do it? Could you make the same amount of money elsewhere with less stress? Construction cleans are stressful. I don't know how many construction cleans I've ever gotten out of and felt like, wow, that was a good bid. Like, that was a great price. There's just so many unforeseen things, and you're always trying to be careful. You try not to scratch things. So I do suggest that if you're doing a lot of construction cleans, get a scratch waiver done. What I do suggest for a scratch waiver is have a local, and I found this out from somebody else. I believe it was Jersey who told me this. Have a local attorney or someone who knows the laws in your state make up a scratch waiver for you. There can be some things that you can miss from state to state. Just to let you know, you may have general liability insurance for your window cleaning company. The possibility that you're actually covered on scratching windows, pretty minimal. Check with your insurance and actually try to get them to tell you and send you something that says you are covered if you scratch a window. A lot of people think they're covered for it, and you're not. I'm not. Nobody around my area will do it. They just won't do it. So make sure to think about that before you just think, oh yeah, I'm all good. I'm not going to be blamed for any of this. It's a possibility that you are, and that you'll still be liable for it. Okay. And the other thing to think about when doing construction clean bids is being very, very detailed in what you're doing and what you're not doing. With construction cleans, how I've usually seen them is that usually we're called in just for glass only, and glass only is glass only. No frames, no tracks, no nothing. Usually there'll be another cleaning company that will come through and do the frames and do the tracks and really do that deep clean. And usually we're in there just to clean off the debris off the glass and get them cleaned. And then usually sometimes after people buy a home, they'll have the windows cleaned again, because they're still going to get dirty in between the time you clean them and that homeowner usually takes the key. That's what I've seen personally overall. Let's go over for the last part. What's the type of customers that you're going to get for residential window cleaning? This is what I've seen in my career. You're going to get your once every 10 to 15 year customer. And usually these are the most picky customers because they think that you're going to do just wonders to their windows, even though their windows may be damaged by blown seals, hard water, paint from over the years of having their house repainted, blah, 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 blah. Those customers aren't the best, but hopefully you can turn them into a long-term customer. But that, unfortunately, is a customer that you're going to get. Then you have usually your once every 2 year clients. These are the clients that want to upkeep their windows, but they don't really care too much about it, but they just keep it up to see if anything's wrong with the glass or just to make sure that they're keeping up with the service of their windows. A good thing to explain to customers is it's not about all having your windows cleaned. It's about actually seeing if your windows are having issues, if they have blown seals, and if you could take care of it quickly and get that under warranty and get a free window put in. I've had jobs where the only idea is to clean the windows to see which ones are blown seals and then to replace those. That does happen. Then what I would say is the most common client is you have your twice a year clients. You have your spring and your fall client who always goes usually inside out in the spring, outside only in the fall. Hope to God maybe they do both seasons. But that's usually typically what we see here in Colorado too, is that right after the winter's over, get the windows cleaned, and then boom, before the winter hits again, get the windows cleaned again. And then you have your clean freaks who are quarterly or monthly cleans. As we've talked about a lot in the forums and stuff like that, you can always get somebody usually to sign up for, quarterly or monthly. Monthly is rare for me, especially in the States. I have not found a lot of people that do that. We maybe had a handful at them at 2020, but not a lot. I just don't find people do that a lot because residential window cleaning is a luxury. Some people you'll get contacted by and they say, oh, well, it should be like nothing at all to get my windows cleaned. No, I mean, this is a luxury service that costs money and costs time, and we're not a charity. We don't do this for $1 a pane. If you're out there charging $1 or $2 a pane, you are ruining the market for everybody else. It's as simple as that. And I know somebody who does that. I know someone that did that over 10 years ago, and he ruined the market in a Pacific town. And I know that town very, very well, but the people in that town have gotten used to extremely low prices, and it's hurt everybody else in that area. It's just crazy to me that you'd want to charge that low of prices. Window cleaning can be something that you can make good money at, okay? It can be, but if you go in it with the idea of I'm going to do cheap labor, don't expect to make money. Don't expect to make a career out of it. Don't expect to hire employees. Don't expect to ever have a good company that you could help out others in their lives have a good job. It's just what it is. So this is kind of my guide to residential window cleaning. I know I've talked a lot. There's a lot of things to cover. There's a lot of things you're going to learn over time. I still learn every single day in my window cleaning business. You will too as time goes on. We're never a perfect window cleaning. We're never a perfect window cleaner. Windows are never perfect with residential. They can be pretty freaking close, but just know that. Don't stress the small stuff. Get in there, get it done. Have good communication with the customer, be personable, and overall always do a good job, and your business will always grow with residential window cleaning. Overall, that is my tips for residential window cleaning, and if you have a new business, I hope this has helped, or if you have a older business but you're looking for some tips, hopefully this has helped. So anyways, have a good day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.